Welcome, everyone, to Unity in Naperville's online streaming service. My name is Rhonda Pignato. I'm going to be the service leader today. And thank you for inviting us into your home and looking for some spiritual connection today, because hopefully we're charged and we're ready to bring some to you. And that's just a really good example of it. That's our own Kim Char Meredith. And the friend of Unity in Naperville, Shelley Seibert, as I like to say, a fellow Unitic. So thank you for coming and inviting us into your home. Our minister here is Reverend Kitty Benson, and she has the week off. But we are blessed to have two ministers who's a power team, Mary Beth and Michael Spear, who are going to help carry the load for us. So thank you so much for joining us. You'll see Reverend Michael Spear up here giving the opening prayer shortly, and then Reverend Mary Beth will be giving us our message. And we love to use music to help lift us up spiritually here at Unity in Naperville, as you can see by our introduction video. And we have a wonderful music team called Highest Good right over here. Are you guys ready to start lifting us up? All right, let's take it away.
Good morning, everyone. Here we go. The words should be right on the screen for you. Let the joy of the Lord rise among us. Let the joy of the Lord rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Let the light of the Lord rise among us. Let the light of the Lord rise among us. And shine from within and rise among us. Let it rise. Let it rise. In our hearts, rise among us. Let the love in our hearts rise among us. Let it shine from within and rise among us. Let it rise. Let the joy of the Lord rise among us. Let the joy of the Lord rise among us. Let the praises that we sing rise among us. Let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Oh, let it rise. Taking it right up there. Good morning, everyone. You know, it's our energy rises, our hearts rise. Let's let our thoughts rise as well. Let's think about higher things. My thoughts
Thank you, Kim. Thank you, band. It's so good to be back here. Good morning, everyone out there in live stream land. It's great to be here. My name is Michael Spear, and it's my pleasure to be here this morning. And I'm going to just open this up in some prayer. So let's just know together right now that there's only one power, one presence, one intelligence in this universe and in my life, the all-knowing, ever-presence of God, Spirit. This one life, this one power, knows exactly how to have a perfect expression of itself through and as me and through and as each and every person in this universe. And that means you. It means me. It means each person. We're all one. There is no separation. We live in a place of unity, all expressing Spirit in perfect ways. So I know today that I bring this goodness into my life, as I know that for each and every one of us, that we all are expressing God uniquely in our lives, provided for, supported, protected, enriched, enhanced through the Spirit of the one mind, God. So I give thanks for this wonderful service today. I know that each of us is enriched today, that we bring something forward into this service and we take something special from this service, allowing us to enrich our lives, move through life with more clarity, focus, ease, and grace, and to continue this wonderful expression of life, knowing that Spirit supports me and you every single step of the way and every day. For this, I give great thanks by saying, thank you, Spirit. Thank you, God. I know all is good, all is God, all is well. I release this word now, letting it be complete as I know it is. I let it be done by saying, and so it is. Amen. Now, if you'd like to join with me, please, in our invocation, we're going to bring that up on the screen. There we go. Okay. Let's just say this together wherever you are. There is only one presence and one power in the universe and in my life, the all-loving goodness of God. And so it is.
We come together for healing. revealing who we are. We come together for healing, revealing who we are. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being. We sing in the name of the one, eternal, infinite being.
Thank you, highest good. That was so lovely. So now is the time in the service where we have our message, but before Reverend Mary Beth Spear comes up here, I'd like to introduce her for those of you that do not know her or are not familiar with her background. Reverend Mary Beth was ordained a religious science minister, and she is a teacher, a mentor, a writer, and she's a member of our Unity in Naperville family. She's been a thought leader in human potential for over 30 years, and her favorite part of it is finding the intersection between science and spirituality. She's co-pastored 2 religious science centers, and she has been speaking and leading group studies and accredited classes in the Chicagoland area. She serves as the membership chair on the board of directors of affiliated New Thought Network, and she holds a dual bachelor and master's degree in religious studies from Emerson Theology Institute. Today, Reverend Mary Beth is going to speak to us on the subject of searching for normal. And before we begin, she wants you to ponder the fact, do we ask the butterfly to go back to normal, to becoming a caterpillar?
Everyone, I have to tell you that this is the first time I have been back in this building since March 8th of this year, and it actually feels more like a year ago that I've been here. So just even the idea of being here felt really surreal and very not normal. One of the things I got in this past week, along with other magazines, was the AARP bulletin saying, "The new normal, searching for the new normal." I don't know about the rest of you, but I know a lot of people have been wanting to go back to normal. Have you been wishing we could just go back to normal? So I finally, because I've been searching, I finally found normal. It's a setting on your dryer. It's between hot and cold. You can find normal. But what I have not found is where we are heading in this new normal that we're in. And that's really what I want to talk about today. Even being here feels so unusual, and I know for a lot of you who've been on live stream with us all through this, and probably are still sitting in your jammies, which was my new normal, enjoying the services and enjoying the comfort of our wonderful Reverend Kitty in her comfortable easy chair, sometimes helping us through some of those things that felt so unsafe. What a blessing it's been through this period of time. And I know that Kitty is now having some very deserved, very well-earned rest. So, funny thing this morning, I actually checked the back of my hair. I haven't even been looking at the back of my hair because everywhere I go, I'm looking at other people in Zoom. I don't know about the rest of you, but the new normal when we do Zoom meetings is having to stare at myself on my own computer through an entire meeting, which I never used to have to do. Michael was talking to a business client the other day, and she was bemoaning the fact that she had 3 Zoom meetings that day, and they were spread out so far apart that she had to actually sit around all day long in her suit. And they hadn't done that for months. And of course, with the dogs barking and the kids yelling and everything, it's just become really topsy-turvy. So what's interesting about this year, we began this year, 2020, the year of vision, perfect vision, 2020. And I know from having spoken to a lot of you and my friends that felt really thrilling. We thought, we've got it. We're ready for 2020, the perfect vision. What we didn't realize is that right at the beginning of it, about March, about 3 months into it, we wound up with the world being completely upside down. A global pandemic, police killings, civil unrest, soaring unemployment, planetary ecological crises, worldwide sustainable imbalance. And we're only at July. So searching for normal is something where I think we're all trying to figure out how do we get back to something that doesn't feel like the ground is an earthquake under our feet. Well, what I want to do is I always talk about the things I want to know. And so I've been giving a lot of thought to how I want to share what I've got to share here today. And as Rhonda was saying, part of my passion in studying metaphysics and spirituality is I love that we are at that intersection. We're really tangibly at this intersection where we're actually able to see the convergence of science and spirituality at work. And for me, as kind of a geeky metaphysician, I really enjoy looking at that because I find comfort in having a sense of what's going on behind the veil as well as in front of our eyes. I think there's a lot of things that are happening on our planet right now with all the upheaval. And have you noticed it isn't just here or there, it's everywhere. So we all get to share in this. And the very fact that we're all in this together means that we are either all aligned on the side of the problem or we're going to align on the side of the solution. And we really are in that, what the Chief Seattle once said, that what we do to the web, we do to ourselves. So here's some thoughts that I think are comforting. First of all, I think we have done a phenomenal job in this center from the very beginning. I absolutely applaud our minister, Reverend Kitty Benson, who told us right up front, in her happy, easy chair with her beautiful floral bouquet behind, that sometimes ministers are here to comfort the afflicted, and periodically we afflict the comfortable. And I know that some of the things that we talked about and that we're doing in this center, where we're actually beginning to start to take some semblance of a stand of awakening to the fact that even though some of our organizations in religious science and in unity are all about wanting to create a world that works for everyone, I think we can all agree this world up until now has not been working for everyone. So we could actually say that something's going to give, and perhaps we're the ones who have brought the change to the point that we are now. So what I find really comforting is knowing some of the models, the sociological and scientific models of what I am going to propose may be happening right now on this planet. Back in 1977, there was a Belgian physicist by the name of Ilya Prigogine, and he won a Nobel Prize for a theory, a physics theory, that he called dissipative structures. Now, what dissipative structures are is the opportunity for an organization or an organism, because we look at this through metaphysics, an organism, the systems of the way things work, that when there is enough energy called perturbation, root word perturb, when there is enough perturbation and energy in chaos, because this also harkens to the chaos theory, where everything looks like the whole box of letters has been dumped out on the floor and there's no words left, that there is actually happening the opportunity for things to shuffle into a higher, more evolved, more complex order. Part of what's needed in that is something called fragility in the face of it. Root word fragile. That in order for this shuffling to occur in the face of this perturbation, and what that perturbation does is he pulls the organism out of equilibrium. It pulls it out of the normal and begins to pull it in the direction of that which does not feel normal at all. You know, a lot of us have read this wonderful book here, even in our church, called The Eye of the Storm by Gary Simmons. And one of the things you can say about what's happening, the perturbations that we haven't certainly been feeling in our world, seems to be coming out of conflict, doesn't it? There's a lot of conflict and conflictual ideas. There's a lot of energy on both sides of that midpoint. And what I love is in the book, Eye of the Storm, Gary Simmons, the author, wrote, his definition of conflict is an interference pattern of energies. I don't know about you, but I think when you say that conflict is an interference pattern of energies, number one, it takes some of the negative stigma off the idea of conflict in the first place, because now what we have is an interference pattern of energies, meaning something wants to give, something wants to change. And he goes on, he says, it arises as a field of influence and is evident in every dimension of life. It's there in nature, in society, in relationships, wherever there is change, movement, resistance, pressure, or interaction, there exists the potential for conflict, or as we're now going to call it, interference patterns of energies. So I've been seeing a lot of interference patterns of energies lately. And what I do know is there is a really big difference between normal and natural. So often we think that they're the same thing. But in reality, natural is nature. Natural is natural. Life is biased on the side of greater life. Life is not biased on the side of destruction. So when I think about natural, I think of that which is biased on the evolution of us, of species, of whatever life is moving through it. So what is normal, besides that setting on the dryer? Normal is cultural. Normal is what we agree it is. And that's why we can go all over the world and even all over the country to different states and places, and we know that normal is going to look different to different cultures. So one of the other things about normal that's different than natural is that normal is subjective. Natural is natural. Natural is nature. It has always been there, will be from time immemorial. But normal is going to change based on us. So what does that mean to us? Well, it means that we're trying to evaluate what we're going through right now in the face of normal. And in actuality, what if we are experiencing something amazing and natural? What if we are a part of a greater influence Because we all are, we teach it in Unity, that we're all one with all life. And we're all one with an ever-expanding universe. And the one thing about each of us as individual beings, human beings, is that each one of us is responsible for our own consciousness about it. So the perception we each have about what we're going through is going to be different based on what we're believing and what we've known up until now. So we're kind of at a crossroads on this planet, don't you think? There is a wonderful man, a futurist and a philosopher named Buckminster Fuller, who made a statement. He said quite clearly, our task is predominantly metaphysical. How to get all of humanity to educate itself swiftly enough to generate spontaneous social behaviors that will avoid extinction. Well, when you think about all these things that we've been going through, how we've gone through all the racial and the lifestyle intolerances of each other, of the ecological conflicts, disturbances of energies that we have there, the different ideas about it, the economic disparity, you could say that up until March hit, we kind of going in the wrong direction in a lot of ways, weren't we? But it was normal. And for a while it felt comfortable. So one of the things I'm not going to talk about today is how to work with your feelings and concerns about what's going on. And I am going to invite you that Unity in Naperville, Unity in Naperville has something called Unity Community Connect, where we have a plethora of amazing resources, tips, techniques, practices, spiritual practices, things that can calm us. This center is absolutely replete in support, people, practitioners, ministers, chaplains, affirmations. We have so much that we can use, each one of us, to work on our own consciousness. What I really want to do is just share with you the idea that through all of this, the position we need to be in order to really be working with this at a higher level is we need to be the ones that are fragile. We need to be malleable. In fact, one of the symbols that has been used in this idea of perturbation and the fragility in it, the idea of spiritual bamboo. The qualities of the actual physical bamboo are, bamboo is strong. It doesn't move. It doesn't bend. It's like steel. But it will wave, and it does give. It doesn't break. And the other thing about it is it is able to grow rather exponentially when it starts to grow. So there's all these wonderful analogies of bamboo. In fact, when we used to teach dissipative structure to some of our ministers and practitioners, at the end of the study we would give each other spiritual bamboo as a symbol. But this is all about really the idea that things are not necessarily happening in wrong order. That maybe, just maybe, something really phenomenal is going on this planet as we move forward. And what it's going to take is that kind of evolution to realize that for moving from what we thought was normal to whatever is going to become the next normal, we're going to be moving through something a lot more natural. A lot of you will remember, Michael and I spoke here at the beginning of 2020. Very, very beginning, and we'd had a real phenomenon. And I'm going to invite Parker. I have a couple of slides I want to show you. I am a gardener now. I'm a backyard gardener, and I grow herbs and things. And what I was discovering last September, I was seeing these beautiful caterpillars, and they were all over my herbs. Particularly, they really like my parsley. That's my parsley. And this particular guy was one of many that I had in the backyard, and we really enjoyed them. And of course, they are going to turn into butterflies at some point. And I did actually decide to bring in a couple of my herbs, particularly a rosemary plant, right at the end of the year before it got cold. And so I potted a rosemary plant in that red pot, and 2 days before the new year, 2020, I pulled back my curtain, and there was a butterfly sitting on my rosemary plant. And it was absolutely surreal. I had absolutely no idea that this was going to happen, but this little gal thought it was springtime in our house, and So she had gone through her whole metamorphosis, and she emerged as a butterfly in my window just about a day before it snowed. What do you do with a butterfly in your window when it's going to, when it's going to snow? Let's see the next slide. And there she is, and there's the snow, and we decided that she was a being that had come to live in our home. For 20 days, which is kind of a long lifestyle for what we found out was a black dragon-tail butterfly, who normally live about 12 to 14 days, for 20 days in 2020, little gal lived in our window. And I found a way to feed her. I found, matter of fact, you can show that slide too, or it's a video. She found her own bouquet. It was actually a misdirected bouquet of flowers that came to our house 2 days after she did. And the person they were directed to was going to be out of state, and so when we contacted her, she said, "Oh no, you can keep the flowers." So I thought it was pretty perfect that little gal not only hatched, but then she also brought with her own environment. But for 20 days, this beautiful little being lived in our window. I flew around on my finger, I enjoyed her, and she lived an entire life cycle. Her normal was an indoor life. And she had a pretty good life. Fed her Gatorade, and at the end of time, she finally fluttered a little bit, and then she moved on. But the whole idea that this was something that was happening right before our very eyes is a symbol. The Indians call this totems. The Indians always think that there's no random activity about something that crosses our path, whether it's a deer or a butterfly or a dragonfly or something. So pretty much right at the very beginning of this year, I knew that something was afoot. Dr. Larry Dossey writes about dissipative structure. He said it is the capacity for being shaken up that paradoxically is the key to growth. Structures that are insulated from disturbance are protected from change. They are stagnant and never evolve toward anything more complex. So the key to growth is being fragile, being malleable, and being willing to move like the bamboo. One of the things I've been working a lot with myself and with other people as I'm doing my teaching this year, and we're all struggling to find that normal. And now I'm, like I told you, we know where it is now, but it's not going to do you much good trying to figure out this pandemic, just knowing it's on your clothes dryer. But the idea of we're moving past something where we're trying to get back to being comfortable. Comfortable is pretty overrated in the face of all of the different things that this planet has had to deal with. So when we're looking for change, the change we're looking for has got to be that which is within ourselves, to be able to really, for me, being able to reframe what's going on as being the dissipative movement of energies is like one of my ministers used to affirm on Sundays. He'd say, "Change, I love it, bring it on, bring it on, bring it on." That was Reverend Greg Barrett, and he would make us affirm that many, many times a year, and of course sometimes we did it through gritted teeth, because not everybody wants to change. But with so much change afoot, one of the things I'm working with is being curious, being really curious about what's happening. It's a very good high vibrational energy to be curious. One of the ways to be curious is not to go around going, why? But saying, what's happening? What wants to happen here? And what is in it and from me to give to this that's happening? And how can I stay malleable and permeable and open and interested and willing to do whatever is mine to do and then await that divine download? Because surely none of us have ever been through anything like this before. There's almost in some instances, and I don't mean this for people who are going through the deepest hardships of this, having to do with work, or with the issues of having to deal with children at home, or with the health and the transitions of family members. There's so much grief on this planet now going on. But there's a lot of green shoots of hope that we can see too. And every time I open a newspaper, every time I turn on the news, if I wait long enough through all of the Ain't It Awfuls, there's almost every single one of those ends with a story about hope, goodness, kindness, and well-being. We will out through this. We will be back in this room. We will be hugging each other. We will not be sitting here with masks on. This will be passed over. It'll pass over us. But who will we be at the end of it? I'm really curious to know who I am going to be, and I'm working on that right now. Staying fragile, staying malleable, staying willing, keeping out of judgment of others, keeping out of the idea of feeling upset with things when things don't feel quite right, and being able to coach and myself to remember I'm in perturbation, I'm in fragility. I am part of the perturbation, and I'm also part of the solution of the fragility. In Romans it says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. Right now, I think every one of us has that opportunity to be renewed by our minds. And I wanted to share with you as I'm closing, I studied a lot of the science of mind through religious science. That was my primary orientation, and now I'm interested in studying with unity. And Ernest Holmes, the founder of religious science, and the Fillmores, who founded Unity, were very similar, and they were close in nature. And Charles Fillmore, in his last work, which was a compilation of articles that he'd written, was called The Atom-Smashing Power of Mind. That's a catchy title. And in that, he says, thinking in the fourth dimension, he said, Christianity, spiritually interpreted, shows that Jesus understood the deeper things of God and God's universe. He understood exactly what the conditions were on the invisible side of life, which he termed in his teachings kingdom of God, or the kingdom of the heavens. So remember what we're experiencing right now. Let's affirm it's normal, but it's natural. Not as normal as it used to be, moving towards some other normal, but let's move more in the direction of what's natural, to realize that conflict really is, in any way, shape, or form, interference patterns of energies. And they arise out of a desire for change. And when we have affirmed collectively at a spiritual level that the consciousness of the change we desire to see is in an upward direction, then it's as if, when the tide rises, all those boats rise. So I'll end with some words by Ernest Holmes. He said, I am no longer concerned about what happened yesterday because I know that today everything is made new. I let go of all sense of limitation, remove thoughts about any belief of lack. I let go of ideas of poor, weak, sick, or unhappy, and new conditions are being created for me, conditions of harmony, happiness, peace, and joy. Circumstances and situations are being harmonized. Wherever I go, I shall meet peace, joy, happiness, and whatever I do, will be done with reason and with intelligence. I shall be surrounded by friendship, beauty, and by right action. My whole being now responds to this conviction. Simply and with complete conviction, I accept my freedom. And to this I add, in order to fly, we got to let go of that cocoon. And let's pray us out. Reverend Michael's going to give us a prayer. Thank you.
We're going to join together in meditation now. And Reverend Mary Beth, thank you so much. It was inspiring. I still remember that little butterfly from the beginning of the year, and it meant a lot to me to see that video today of the amazing transformation that is perfectly natural. That helped me to remember that what I'm going through right now may not seem normal, but it's perfectly natural. I have to let go of anything I was stuck on and holding on to about the past, allowing this newer, greater moment to come forth. So let's join together in this knowingness of a greater, newer moment that is evolving in each of our lives. What I accept and know right now is that the one presence, the one power, God, is ever present right here and now. has never gone anywhere, is not going anywhere, and is present in all of its glory, all of its manifestation. That very same power and presence that created this entire universe created me in its likeness and image. And when I say that me in the first person, know that same first person for yourself right now, that I am created in the likeness and image of Spirit. That means with all the qualities of God, of life, love, light, power, peace, beauty, joy, radiant health, and abundant prosperity. So I accept and know right now that this good is unfolding in my life in this now moment. I look to the world around me, knowing that while things are changing, and things may not feel normal as I knew them before, that something amazing is unfolding. Just as this universe that I live in is continuing to expand with all the billions and trillions of stars beyond my comprehension, in a universe where there is no time or space, are continuing to expand, that new stars are being formed in this now moment as I speak this word, and other stars are leaving, exploding into supernovas and forming black holes. That this is the natural way of the universe, the natural way that God is expressing itself, this divine power. As I bring myself into this greater view of the universe and this greater view of life that I am a part of, I bring it right back to myself. That we can each know and see for ourselves that we are part of a greater scheme. That Spirit created me so it could express itself as joy and love and peace. This is what we call the peace that passeth all understanding. This great universal love that resides within each of our hearts. I take a moment right now just to take that love in my heart, embody it, feel it, knowing that this expression of God that is as near as my heart, as close as my breath, has never stopped. My heart continues to beat without my thinking about it. I breathe without any conscious requirement to make anything happen. So I know that this expression of love and peace continues to move through me right here and now. I am grateful, so grateful for this expression of love and life. And knowing that these words that we have known within ourselves right now have unfolded into a greater expression of good, I let this be complete, knowing it is done here and now by saying, and so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Mary Beth. That was so needed. It was very inspirational. Seriously, I really needed to hear that today. An interesting coincidence, and I define coincidence as when God wants to remain anonymous, is Mary Beth and I had a discussion yesterday, and she mentioned she was going to tell this butterfly story, and I was very excited about it because it's just such a beautiful story about this butterfly finding its way into their home. And shortly after our conversation, I took my dog out for a walk, and guess what crossed my path immediately as soon as I walked out the door? So I love those nature moments where God is constantly reminding us of the miracle that is in nature and the miracles that are all around us if we look for them. Thank you. Now is the time in our service where we share in our tithes and our love offerings. This is an opportunity for you to give back to the spiritual community so that we can continue our mission here in bringing a spiritual connection to you, bringing spiritual messages. There are donation buttons on the Unity in Naperville.org website, as well as, I believe, on the Facebook streaming. So if whichever way you're watching, please feel free to donate. And as we receive those donations, let us all together bless that offering. The words of the blessing are up here on the screen. Together. Divine love through me blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive, and I am grateful. Thank you.
So grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all. So blessed, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed, I am so grateful, I am so blessed.
So, as Reverend Mary Beth indicated, we do have a huge selection of things that go on here at Unity in Naperville, a lot of resources at Unity Community Connect. And so let's go over a few of the announcements of what's going on this week. First of all, we do have reopening plans for how we're tentatively going to reopen the church. And I say tentatively because everything is fluid in this environment. If you go to unityinnaperville.org, there's going to be their proposed plan as well as a survey. And in the plan, there's going to be some instructions about social distancing, face masks, things that we're going to implement as we reopen the doors, which is tentatively set in August. But there's also a way to take a survey there. So if you haven't had that survey emailed to you, please go there because the board of directors really wants your feedback to understand how to continue the reopening structure of Unity in Naperville, okay? You can email, if you need help with that, admin, A-D-M-I-N, at unityinnaperville.org. Next is something we've been doing for months now, which I've think I've attended almost all of them, maybe 90% of them. Lunch Together Online, every Tuesday and Thursday from noon to 1. You can go to Unity Community Connect and click on Lunch Together Online, and then you can click to get on a Zoom call, and we sit together and we share, and Kim Char hosts the call, and
And we just talk and talk and talk.
we just have a good old time, yeah. And I mean, who knows what we talk about that day? It could be something really deep and spiritual, or it could be talking about, I don't know, what's on your bun today.
We're recently talking about how to make mozzarella.
Yes, yes. Oh, and we have a plan for that. So if you're interested in making mozzarella, come to the next one this week on Tuesday from noon to 1. And you don't have to come for the whole time. You can just drop in at any time, just to show your face, say hi, see what's going on. And then on Wednesdays, we have something called Be Inspire and Inspire Others. This is where from noon to 12:30, you can come and bring your lunch as well. And there's a discussion about what went on today's service. And there's a lot to discuss there. I took some notes. There's a lot of words I need to go look up too. Those were good words. I like the. So come join on Wednesday if you want to take this message and discuss it and refresh it in the middle of your week. That also you can get on at unitycommunityconnect.com. .com? Sorry, I might have said .org. It's .com. But you have the screens up there, so if I mess up, just read the screen. Screen trumps me. And also this week we have our healing service, which is going to be run by Reverend Christine Garza and Sharon Jubsky. That's going to be Wednesday at 7 p.m., and it's going to be live streamed. So please come join us then. Next, our Crafters Circle is going to be getting together virtually this Friday at 6:30 p.m. Go to, I feel I sound like a broken record, unitycommunityconnect.com and find the channel for the Crafters Circle and click on there, and you can all share what you're working on and work together. And next, what we have is Unity, not Unity in Naperville, but New Unity, the organization, is going to be doing an online retreat start this Friday and this Saturday. I've already signed up for it. There's no charge for it. They ask for a love offering, but come and get some deep spiritual inspiration and get deeper into the Unity prayer experience. They're apparently going to take us into regions that I've never seen before, which is the Peace Chapel and the Myrtle Fillmore Grove. So come check that out. And I believe you can you can sign up at unity.org. That is not on the screen, and I looked that up, so my information is correct on that one. Unity.org. Okay. Next, we have prayer on call. So this applies today. Usually we have our prayer ministers during a service waiting to pray with you confidentially outside in our meditation room. But obviously, since we're not meeting here, they are not here, you are not here. So we are going to be doing this more virtually. If you email today by 12:30 your name and your phone number, one of our prayer ministers will call you by 1, and you can have some confidential prayer. You can email prayer@unityinnaperville.org, and again, do that today by 12:30, so you've got about 45 minutes, and they would be happy to pray with you. And I think that's all the announcements we have today. But we do have one last closing song and affirmation. What is our closing song today?
Day by day.
Excellent.
Do you
Let's
want
get
to play
going.
the tambourine?
All right. Where is it?
Good. Where's the tambourine? Here it is.
All right. Thank you.
And you at home, you can play the salt shaker and throw salt all around. You can get some wooden spoons, hit the back of your chair. Come on, join us. Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray. See thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day. Rhonda.
That was fun.
Shake that tambourine. And I don't know, everyone, you couldn't see it probably, but Mary Beth was up dancing on the side there.
All right. Well, now we're going to do our closing affirmation, which is the prayer for protection. This is a prayer that I think is, wow, all of a sudden I got like talking really fast because all the energy from that song. But this is a great, great affirmation to bring into your life. So if you've never heard it before, I encourage you to come back and write it down and say it in your life. I've been using this prayer for years now, and it's a great one to do on a daily basis. So let's all say it together. The words are up on the screen. The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. And the presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Thank you for joining us today.